Who is Jimmy Diresta?
Who's that?
Who?
Diresta?
Jimmy Diresta.
Jimmy Diresta.
Who is Jimmy Diresta?
Never heard of the name before. I'm not exactly sure who it is you speak of.
Hey, Scott Grove here from Magic Grove, and I have the honor and pleasure to be here in Jimmy Diresta's shop. Jimmy Diresta, if you don't know anything about him, go and check him out. YouTube. Or he'll be at Maker Central next year.
Yep. May 19th.
May 19th, 2019. So, anyhow, thanks for having me here.
Thank you, man. It's been
awesome
great.
shop, great weekend. And like all my other interviews, I just want to get the backstory. So, like, you know, how'd you get into making? Like,
I've always been making things my entire life. My dad had a wood shop where I grew up in Long Island. And in the basement of the shop, in the basement of the house was a shop that I spent literally all my time in.
Really?
And my dad did too. So my dad he would get small client jobs. It really was his secondary income. It wasn't his primary.
What did he do for a living?
He was a New York City fireman.
Okay.
And so in between, he did odd jobs and, you know, all pertaining to doing either carpentry or fabrication of simple furniture, nothing too complicated.
Sure.
He did mostly old English style furniture, simple joinery. He never did anything complicated. Because he didn't really charge a lot of money. So
you probably got great experience. I mean, great memories with you and him working in the basement.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's
I
great.
mean, you know, that's where I learned my love of Hank Williams music and made everything mostly out of pine.
Right.
He was a little intimidated by some of the harder wood, so we always had kept him.
And then high school, wood shop.
High school, I went to wood shop. I never. By the time I got to high school, metal shop was closed, so there was no metal shop and no auto shop.
So, because you're primarily known for, you know, I mean, a metal fabricator. So, how'd you get into
actually,
that?
when I first got into YouTube, it was mostly wood.
Okay.
I started doing metal fabrication on my own after art school. So I went through high school, and I took typical high school education, but I did go to BOCES for architecture for 3 years.
Okay.
In Long Island, we have BOCES, which stands for Board of Cooperation Educational Services.
Yeah.
And you'd spend half your day going to a career.
Yeah, vocational school and architecture. Sure.
So I went for architecture and math, and when I got to my senior year, I didn't really want to be an architect. It's too complicated.
So you went to art school after high school? Or did you go?
Yeah, I spent a year outside of college before I went to work in a sign shop, so I learned a lot of metal fabrication there.
Okay.
It's kind of when I first started welding and bending on the brake and doing that kind of stuff, metal chopping with shears. And then I went to art school, and that was really where my concept education started.
Where'd you go?
New York City School of Visual Arts.
Oh, okay.
Graduated in 1990, and then I started teaching there in 94.
Oh, okay.
I graduated with a 3D illustration portfolio in making all kinds of things, three-dimensionally. And I got right into product design as soon as I left school. One of my last teachers in my final year was a toy and games designer.
Okay.
And I started working for him, developing his inventions, and then slowly integrating my own inventions into the career path of developing inventions to sell. He kind of trained me and taught me to be an inventor and curator of my own ideas. Really.
Great. And then when did you start the whole YouTube thing? I know you're one of the pioneers, I think. You know.
Well, I started doing the toy business. So from 90 to almost 2008, so it was 18 years. I did toys, and I would go to China manufacturing toys and developing product ideas for a lot of people. And I mean, none of the toys I ever did were already huge commercial successes. I kind of made like a pretty good living. No, I didn't have like I've never had my Rubik's Cube, so to speak.
Right.
That's why I keep it very playful most of the time. My Rubik's Cube would have been this thing called Gurgling Guts. It's a squishy eyeball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was my product.
No kidding.
Yeah. Me and my buddy and my brother, the three of us were partners on that. But I was the impetus. I came up with the actual product, and my buddy helped develop the branding and everything. And we sold it to a company called 4Kids. They made it for a few years, made a lot of money, and we ended up developing licenses with it. So we had a thing called Goosebumps and Jurassic Park. So this egg inside of a clear skin, you squeeze and it slurps and spits.
Yeah.
It was a stupid novelty I came up with.
Yeah.
So we made a lot of money with that. It didn't last forever, and I would
good.
still...
You give you a nice little bump to get you started.
Yeah. But I was involved in a lot of weird stuff. Like, for instance, me and my brother helped develop the pitch for the Britney Spears doll.
No kidding.
We developed the whole pitch to show Britney's licensing team, hey, this company could use your image as a doll. And they got the pitch based on what we did.
Right.
I mean, it was an easy thing. It wasn't that hard, but we were there at the right time.
Sure.
And doesn't mean I made all that money.
And then so when did you start filming?
So then I have a brother that's in Hollywood as a comedic actor.
Okay.
And he said to me one day, he's like, "Hey, come out, help me film this idea that I have." And I was just dabbling in videography in 2000.
Okay.
And we filmed a concept that he came up with called Trash to Cash, where we find garbage, make it into other things.
Right.
And long story short, we developed the pitch. And in the pitch meeting, the agent there and the person from Fox looked at me and goes, "Well, do you want to be on the show? Why don't you be on the show?" Because I was going to be the behind the scenes guy, help developing the concepts. And the last show, so over the course of several years, and then the last show we did together was for Discovery Channel, a show called Dirty Money.
Okay.
That was in 2010. That first show was in 2002. So over 8 years, we did a few different shows.
Sure.
I worked for HGTV a couple different times.
Yeah, I did a HGTV show. That's a great outlet. Yeah.
And ultimately, we ended up on Discovery Channel for 12 episodes. They canceled the show as soon as it went on the air. And as soon as the show went over, everyone was like, where can we see you again? Where can we see you again?
Okay.
And so a lot of people said, go to YouTube.
And you just
went to YouTube.
Transition there, and it worked.
2011. It's been no looking back ever since.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're obviously
7 years.
How many subscribers you have?
I'm approaching 1.3 million subscribers. Yeah.
That's crazy. The YouTube, you still do commission work? You got an amazing table over here that we'll take a look at.
Yeah,
so you're still making just
whatever comes.
Fabricating.
Whatever comes in the door, I'll do it. Yeah.
Okay.
And if it's a good video, all the better. This is a giant slab table that's going to the Bahamas. I have a client in the Bahamas.
And that's what, 4 or 5 inches of cedar?
It's 5-inch thick cedar. It's 50 inches wide. At its widest, it's 13 feet long.
Wow.
It's from Chico, California. And we just basically hand planed it flat and sanded it.
Very nice.
And it's going on top of this steel frame. This is cold roll frame. We're going to kind of gun blue it and then lacquer it.
Beautiful. So, what are your own YouTube channels, any social media sites?
Jimmy Diresta on YouTube
Okay.
and Instagram and Facebook.
And you have a podcast too?
I have a podcast called Making It with Bob Claggett and David Picciuto. Both
Okay.
big YouTubers as well.
Right. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you spending the time with me, and I appreciate
you're awesome. I learned so much just hanging around with you.
Okay, well, we had a
You
fun
like
time.
emit information, so.
Yeah, well, thank you. Okay, so hey, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Cool, that was quick and tight.
Yeah,
Light on the set. Action. I gotta arrange them all in the right order.
I hope you really enjoyed that. I know I did. It was a really great weekend. The energy and all the creative makers, man, it was just really fun. Please subscribe to Jimmy's channel and my channel, Imagine Grove. I got a lot of other interviews on there and interesting stuff. Thanks again, Jimmy, and everyone else who contributed. And I'll see you next time.